मिलता है। और श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने बहुत ही विस्तार से उनके जीवन चरित्र के बारे में वर्णन किया है। क्लास हिंदी में दें या इंग्लिश में? हाँ, इंग्लिश। देयर इज ऑलवेज अ डिवाइड। मेरे पास टेक्स्ट इज, आई हैव द टेक्स्ट इन इंग्लिश, सो आई विल रिसाइट फ्रॉम इंग्लिश। जयो जयो श्री चैतन्य जयो नित्यानंद, जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा, जयो जयो श्री चैतन्य जयो नित्यानंद, जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा, जयो जयो श्री चैतन्य जयो नित्यानंद, जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आयला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उडुपीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। ये दिस इज Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 9. Lord Chaitanya travels to the holy places, and payar number 245. Madhvacharya sthane aila yaha tattvavadi, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आइला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। टू 4-5। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आइला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आइला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आइला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ। माताजी वैष्णवीज। मध्वाचार्य स्थाने आइला यहाँ तत्ववादी, उड़पीते कृष्ण देखी तहाँ होइला प्रेमोन्मादी। Hare Krishna. So this is Lord Chaitanya traveling in the holy places, and now he reaches Madhvacharya's place, which is Udupi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next arrived at Udupi, the place of Madhvacharya, where the philosophers known as Tattvavadis resided. There he saw the deity of Lord Krishna and became mad with ecstasy. Lord Chaitanya, after seeing Madhvacharya's deity, Udupi Krishna, he became mad in ecstatic feelings. There's a long purport, pretty big purport of almost 4 pages. So I will try to go paragraph by paragraph. Sripad Madhvacharya took his birth near Udupi, which is situated in the South Kannada district of South India, just west of Sahyadri. This is the chief city of the South Kannada province and is near the city of Mangalore. which is situated to the south of Udupi. Near the city of Udupi is a place called Pajaka Kshetra, where Madhvacharya took his birth in a Shivali Brahman dynasty as the son of Madhav Geha Bhatt in the year 1040 Shakabda, which is 1118 AD. According to some, he was born in the year 1160 Shakabda, which is 1238 AD. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine. Hare Krishna. It's a very, very auspicious day today, the disappearance day of Sripad Madhvacharya. Sripad Madhvacharya is the founder Acharya of the entire Parampara Sampradaya. And on the disappearance day, we get to know from his life, we receive inspiration to practice bhakti, and we also receive his instructions how to make progress in bhakti. So this is very, very important. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he accepted the lineage of Sripad Madhvacharya. So this itself is a conclusion that how important are the Acharyas. That the Supreme Lord, we see in the 11th chapter, in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, Acharya Mam Vijaniyam, that you always consider the Acharya to be myself and never be envious of them. And here we see that the Supreme Lord himself is coming under the lineage, the disciplic lineage of coming from Sripad Madhvacharya. There is a very interesting conversation in Navdev Dham Mahatma. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he expresses, he says that Lord Chaitanya himself, before his advent, he declared that he will come in this lineage. Madhva haite sarvadvaye karibe grahana eka hoye keval advaita nirashana Krishna murti nitya jani tahara sevana seite dvitiya sara jana mahajana. So Lord Chaitanya himself declared that when he will advent and enact his pastimes, so he will accept two principles from Sripad Madhvacharya. What is that? The first is Keval Advait Nirasana, the complete annihilation of the impersonal philosophy. And second is Krishnamurti Nityajani, that the Supreme Lord manifests eternally in his Shri Vigraha. So these two principles that we practice. What is the most prominent principle of preaching of ISKCON? Is Advait Nirasana, is defeating the philosophy of monism or impersonalism. And secondly, we see, all our temples, people are attracted to the deities the most. So both these principles have been accepted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself from Sripad Madhvacharya. And he himself declared that he will come and accept in the lineage of Sripad Madhvacharya. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his tour for South India, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, the first and the foremost activity he did was to preach to the South India, out of his boundless compassion. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Madhya Leela, chapter 9, which I am reading from the chapter, in the first payar he says, Nana matta graha grastan dakshinatya janadvipan kriparinya vimucchetan gaura chakre sa vaishnavan. So Nana matta graha grastan. Nana matta means different philosophical conclusions. So in South India there are very, very many philosophical, predominantly it is the philosophical conclusion of Sripad Sankaracharya, which is the impersonalism. Impersonalism is there, and there were previously, there were Buddhists, there were Jains, there were many isms. Prabhupada says that there were many isms. So Nana Matta Graha Grastan. And these people in South India, they are very learned, very scholarly. They are compared to Dvipan, the elephants. But these elephants, they were caught in the grip of the crocodile, Graha Grastan. And to release them, to free them from the imposition of the impersonalism, Kripa Arina Vimucche Etan, Gaura Chakre Saha Vaishnavam. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu released his wheel. What is his wheel? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu released his wheel of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and converted this crocodile and elephants into Vaishnavism. There were so many impersonalists, Buddhists, Jains, Mayavadis, and by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, they all became devotees. So we see the contribution of Sripad Madhvacharya in our Gaudiya philosophy. Our parampara is known as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we are coming under the lineage of Lord Brahma. So to begin the Sampradaya, the Supreme Lord has to depend on his devotees. And it is quoted in the Padma Puran that without coming into the bona fide disciplic succession, one cannot achieve perfection. Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphala mata. Then what to do? Ata kalo bhavishyanti chatvara sampradayina. So in the age of Kali, there will be 4 bona fide disciplic successions. And who are these? Shri Brahma Rudra Sanaka Vaishnava Shiti Pavana. So beginning with Shri, that is Lakshmi Devi, Brahma, Rudra and Sanaka, the 4 Kumars. So there will be 4 bona fide disciplic successions coming from the lineage of Lord Brahma, Lakshmi Devi, Rudra and the 4 Kumara, the Chatush Kumara. Chatvaraste kalo bhavya iti utkale purushottama. And the culmination of these 4 sampradayas will be in Utkal. So this culmination came when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And he accepted 2 principles each from these 4 Vaishnava sampradaya and gave the culmination, the perfection or the Purnata And who are these four nominated personalities, acharyas, who are going to represent Sri Lakshmi Devi, Brahma, Rudra and Sanaka? They are Ramanuja Sri Sri Chakre. So Ramanujacharya will represent. Tomorrow is also the auspicious divine disappearance day of Sripad Ramanuja. Today is Sripad Madhvacharya. 2 days back it was the appearance of Srila Advaita Acharya. Very, very auspicious week. And Madhvacharyam will be for Brahma. Madhvacharyam Chaturmukha. And Sri Vishnu Swamin Rudro Nimbarkadityam Chatushanaha. So Madhvacharya has been appointed by Brahmaji himself personally. So we see the disciplic succession. Someone has Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada, no, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. Srila Prabhupada gives the disciplic succession, and this disciplic succession is coming from Lord Krishna himself to Brahmaji, and from Brahmaji it comes to Narad, and then Vyasa, and then followed by Madhvacharya. And then there is a whole big list of names. And all these names are of the acharyas, though they are from the Madhva Sampradaya. Yeah. Till Sripad Ishwarpuri. And then Lord Chaitanya, and followed by the 6 Goswamis. So the contribution of Sripad Madhvacharya is very immense, and Lord Chaitanya accepted his lineage. Here we see that Srila Prabhupada is, in this purport, quoting Sripad Madhvacharya's birth, that he took birth near Udupi. Amongst the 4 acharyas, the final one to come was Sripad Madhvacharya. The first one who came, who was the first acharya to appear? Huh? Yes, Sankaracharya, of course, but he is not a Vaishnava acharya. Huh? All the Vaishnava acharya came to refute his impersonalism. No. Ramanujacharya definitely came before Madhvacharya, but he was not the first. Who came first? Amongst the 4 acharyas. Perfect dates are not known, but it is the Vishnu Swami. Then Nimbarkaditya, then Ramanujacharya, and finally, the final one to come is Sripad Madhvacharya. And he appears, as Prabhupada writes in his commentary, that there are 2 dates mentioned. One is 1118 and the other is 1238. So in most of the books, I found the date 1238 as the date of his appearance day. And he appears in South India in a place called Pajaka Kshetra. This Pajaka Kshetra is very, very potent place, because this Pajaka Kshetra belongs to Lord Parshuram. And there is a story that after annihilating the sinful Kshatriyas for 21 times, the entire land belonged to Lord Parshuram. But he donated the entire land to Kashyap Rishi. And so he had no land, and he had to perform lot of austerity. So what he did, he called upon the demigod of the ocean, Varun Deva, and told him that I will use my axe, the axe he used to annihilate the sinful Kshatriyas, and use it as an arrow, and I will throw it. And till the extent it goes, you will have to recede. You will have to leave that space. The water will recede, and that will become land, and that will be the land where will be belonging to Lord Parshuram. So in this way, this great tract of land comes up, which is from Kanyakumari till Nasik. And in this tract of land, this Pajaka Kshetra is also there. And this place is very famous. The Udupi is a place before the advent of Sripad Madhvacharya. This place was famous for 2 temples. Some of you, if you have traveled to Udupi, these temples are there. The temple of Lord Ananteshwar and Chandramauleshwar. So there is Lord Vishnu, which is Anant. Anant is Anantadev. And who is the Isha of Anant is Lord Vishnu, who is on the bed of Anantashesh. So that is Ananteshwar. And also there is Chandramauleshwar. Lord Shiva is worshipped there by the moon. So it is Chandramauleshwar. So the father of Sripad Madhvacharya, his name is mentioned here as Madhyage Bhatt. He was a Brahman, a very good standing Brahman who knew all the scriptures, and he would perform so many yagyas. And he, Madhyage Bhatta, along with his wife Vedavati, they used to visit from the Pajaka Kshetra. Pajaka Kshetra, the place of birth of Madhvacharya, is almost 12 kilometers from Udupi. And daily they would go to take darshans of their lordships of Lord Ananteshwar. And Madhyage, he was also a scholar. He used to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata there itself in the temple premises. But he was very much disturbed to see that the mass of men, they were following the impersonal idea, conceptions. They were not accepting the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord. They still considered that the Absolute is impersonal. They didn't believe that the Absolute is sentient. Srila Prabhupada wrote that Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed. But that calamity was very much there at that time. So he was very much disturbed that he is trying to preach people and give them the good fortune, but they are not accepting. So one day when he was in that temple of Ananteshwar, something unusual happened. One of the Brahmanas of Ananteshwar temple, he stood up on the Gopuram. When you go to South India, you see there are Gopurams, there are gates. So he stood up on the Gopuram, and on top of his voice, he called out, he shouted that in the very near future, there will be the advent of Vayu. Vayudev will advent. And he will remove the impersonal calamity. And when Madhyage Bhatt heard this, immediately he had a desire. He had a desire. He was a childless father. In fact, he and his wife, they conceived 2 sons. Mother Vedavati conceived 2 sons. But both of them did not survive. Madhvacharya had an elder sister, but he had no son. So he had the aspiration that if Vayudev is going to advent and is going to remove the impersonalism, let him appear as my son. We see that. And Kashyap and Aditi, they also wanted the Supreme Lord as their son. And in fact, Madhavge and Vedavati, they performed austerity of Payovrat Vrata for 12 years. Aditi performed Payovrat Vrata. Kashyap did not. Kashyap did not perform. But here we see both of them performed Payovrata Vrata for 12 years. In the request, Shri Radha Ras Bihari Ju ki jai, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Sundar ki jai, that they will receive the benediction from, and they prayed very vehemently to Lord Anantadev to fulfill their desire. And in course of time, Mother Vedavati conceives and she gives birth to this child who is very, very extraordinary. So this child is named as Vasudev. The first name that Madhvacharya gets is Vasudev. And he was an extraordinary child. I mean, he was well built, very strong from his birth, and he grew abnormally. Krishna also grew abnormally. Krishna grew at the rate of, what was the rate of growth of Krishna? At least 1.5 times. At the age of 1, he would be almost 2 years. So similarly, this child was an amazing child. So when this child took birth, After the rituals, the first outing of the child was to take darshan of Lord Ananteshwar, by whose blessing this child came into this world. And when Madhvacharya and Vedavati were returning that day, performing various ceremony, puja, samskar, they became late. And they had to return from Udupi, from Lord Ananteshwar's place, to their Pajaka Shet, which was in the forest. So it became night. And the people who were accompanying him, one of the Brahmana, he was caught by a Brahma Rakshas in the forest. And he started to vomit blood. And seeing this, Madhvacharya Bhatta, he was well versed in the mantras. He started to recite the mantras from the Shastras. In fact, he even recited the Narsim mantra. But nothing happened. And that Brahma Rakshas, he spoke up. He said that if you allow your child to place his lotus feet on the head of the person whom I have haunted, then I will be released. And after hearing this, Madhvacharya Bhatt, he placed the lotus feet of baby Vasudev on the head of that person who was haunted by the Brahma Rakshas. And immediately that Brahma Rakshas was released. We see Krishna, he released Putana. Similarly, we see there are many similarities in the pastimes of Sripad Madhvacharya. And because he was the incarnation of Vayu, two previous incarnations of Vayu in Treta was Hanuman, and in Dwapar was Bhima. So Bhima is also known as Vrakodara. He was very hungry. So this child, he used to suck mother's breast after every hour. And one day it so happened that Mother Vedavati had gone out of the house. And the baby started to cry because he was hungry. And his elder sister could not bring any food because he had not had the Annaprashna. He was crying so loud and he was not being pacified. So what his sister did, he took the child and took it in the place of cowshed. And in the cowshed, the baby crawled and there was a big bag of cow fodder. The coarse grain which the cows accept. He, with his force, he put the bag down and ate the entire bag of 40 kgs. That was his Annaprashna Samskar. This is how his Annaprashna Samskar. So right from his childhood, he was extraordinary and miraculous. Further, Prabhupada says, in his childhood, Madhvacharya was known as Vasudev, and there are such wonderful stories surrounding him. It is said, once when his father had piled up many debts, Madhvacharya converted tamarind seeds into actual coins to pay them off. So his father was a Brahmana, and you know those who are core of the Brahmanas, they don't have much wealth. This is the benediction of Lakshmi Devi. How to know that the Brahmana is genuine? He will be poor. If he says he is a Brahmana and he is wealthy, then there is some element of doubt. So this Madhvacharya Brahmana, he had taken a pair of cows, but he didn't have the money. So he took loan from the local financial lender. And you know, the Indian financial lenders and the landlords, what they do? The principal is less and the interest is more. Whatever he paid was insufficient. So one day this money lender, he landed up and with a strong force saying that you return all my debt. Otherwise I will fast here till I die. That is the recovery way. How to recover the debts. So Madhvacharya was in anxiety. And Vasudev was also in anxiety because Vasudev wanted to eat. So he asked his father that please give me something to eat. And Madhvacharya said, what should I give you to eat? You see on my head this person is, there and he's asking money. So first I have to pay him. Then I pay you. So what he did, he went on the backyard and there was this tamarind tree. And what he did, very innocuously, he collected all the tamarind seeds and put it in his palms. And he walked to that money lender. And everyone is seeing the child's play. And he gave the moneylender those tamarind seeds. So the moneylender was also, he was surprised. He was thinking this child is playing pranks with me. But as soon as the moneylender was about to say that, what have you given me? As soon as he folded his palm with the tamarind seeds converted into gold coins. And all the debt of his father was paid. When he was 5 years old, he was offered the sacred thread. So his Upnayan was done when he was 5. And he was admitted. There was the Vidya Aram Samskar. And in the Vidya Aram Samskar, there was Akshara Abhyasaha. And he was admitted in a Gurukula in the Pajaka Kshetra. But he was so extraordinarily brilliant that whatever the teacher taught, he memorized it forever. And he would play with his friends and he would not attend the classes. So one day the Gurukula teacher, he became annoyed and angry. And he told Vasudev that if you are not serious, then you can leave my Gurukul. Why don't you study? Don't you want to become learned? And Vasudev replied very humbly to his teacher that, my dear sir, I don't see any point in repeating. So the teacher inquired, so what have you learned? And he recited all what teacher taught, and he also recited what the teacher did not teach. And for him, his main attraction was one of the Upanishads. At his young age, age of near to 5, he first read the Aitreya Upanishad. This is from the Rig Veda, which speaks about the greatness of Lord Vishnu. And seeing his proficiency in the Shastras, his teacher gave him the first title, which was Anuman Tirtha. He could reveal so much which was not even taught. And then he said that whatever I can teach, you know more. So he left the Gurukula. And he was just 7. He made up his mind to take sannyas at the age of 7. But his mother and father, they started to cry. So he was in search of a guru from whom to know more on the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Shastras. So he came to know near Udupi there is one learned scholar called Achyut Preksha. Achyut Preksha. He was a personalist. He was an elderly sannyasi. He was also coming in the Brahma Sampradaya. So Vasudev approached Achyut Preksha and started to stay with him. And this Achyut Preksha, in his previous birth, he received prasadam from none other than Draupadi Devi. He was a bumblebee and he used to eat from the Pandavas. And he manifested as Achyut Preksha. But at that time of Sripad Madhvacharya's regime, the influence of the impersonalist and the Buddhist and the Jain was so prominent that none of the sannyasis would dare to go out and preach. For last 400 years, there was not even a single attempt to refute them or to defeat them. So, after receiving knowledge from Achyut Preksha, the teachings were distinction from the Advaita philosophy, the Vaishnavam philosophy. And he had decided to take sannyas. And he started to travel. At the age of 11, he started to travel. So when his mother and father came to know that the child is again aspiring for sannyas, they became very worried. And it is stated that his father, Mother Geha, he searched and found him while he was on his travels. And as soon as he saw his son Vasudev, he offered Dandvat Pranams to his son. The father offered Pranam to his son. And when Vasudev saw this, he said, this is only possible if the son becomes sannyasi. The father can only offer obeisances to the son if the son is a sannyasi. So this proves that I can take sannyas. But the mother began to cry. And she said that, how can you take sannyas? I have already lost 2 of my sons. This is how Shachi Devi also, spoke to Lord Chaitanya when he was taking sannyas. So there was an agreement between the son and the mother and the father. So Vasudev said that, okay, don't worry, you will have one more son. And as soon as the son takes birth, I will leave. I will take sannyas. And within 1 year, the mother Vedavati, she gives a birth to another child. And at the age of 12, Sripad, Madhvacharya, Vasudev takes sannyas. I'll read from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada is also talking about when he was 5 years old, he was offered the sacred thread. A demon named Manimana lived near the abode on the form of a snake. Madhvacharya killed that snake with the toe of his left foot. So there were many other stories, these pastimes. There was this snake. This snake was also from the Mahabharata time. He was killed previously by Bhima. And now Bhima has advented at Madhvacharya, so he came back to take revenge. And when Madhvacharya was playing with his schoolboys, there was a hill actually. There was a Durga temple on top of the hill, which was known as Vamangiri. And there Madhvacharya used to play with his school friends, because he didn't attend Gurukul. He knew everything in the Gurukul. So one day this serpent was hiding. And as soon as Vasudev came there, he struck with all his venom and force. And it was a surprise attack. But Madhvacharya was not impacted by his poison. He pressed the snake was big. He was having 5 hoods. Yesterday Prabhuji was saying that the aspiration of the Sri Vaishnava is to become one of the hood, to receive the lotus dust. But see this Maniman, he received the lotus toe of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya just pressed that snake with his left toe, and the snake lost his life here. And it is said the imprint of the force of Madhvacharya toe is still there on that Shila, on that hill. If you go next time to Udupi, let us find out where that imprint is. The snake's imprint is still there, who was pushed by the toe. That was the force. He was having the force of Vayudev, Hanumanji. When his mother was very much disturbed, he would appear before him in one jump. So that hill was 2 kilometers away from his house. And when the mother would call, he would jump from the hill and reach the house. Why? Because he is expert. He is Vayu. He is Hanuman. Hanuman can jump the entire Sagara. He was great scholar even in childhood. And although his father did not agree, he accepted sannyas at the age of 12. And upon receiving sannyas from Achyut Preksha, he received the name Purna Pragya Tirtha. So after receiving sannyas from his guru, Achyut Preksha, his name was given Purna Pragna Tirtha. Purna means complete, and Pragna means who has knowledge or wisdom. And Tirtha is authority. He was having the authority of a spiritual teacher or a spiritual master. So he was named Purna Pragna Tirtha. After traveling all over India, he finally discussed scriptures with Vidya Shankara. So his main goal, his main mission was to Keval Advait Nirasana. And what is the seat of Advait Nirasana? Is the Sringeri Mutt of Sripad Sankaracharya. So this personality, Vidya Shankara, he was the Acharya of the Sringeri Mutt. So he traveled to the Sringeri Mutt, and when he traveled to the Sringeri Mutt, the Sankara sect was represented by this Vidya Shankara. He was an elderly person, and it is near Rameshwaram. That was the place, that was the seat. And Chaturmas was approaching. So both of them stayed. Vidya Shankara and Vasudev, now Purna Pragya Tirtha, they were there in that place for 4 months. And there was a lot of argument and exchange. And very easily Madhvacharya defeated and refuted all the arguments of Vidya Shankara. But Vidya Shankara was not to concede defeat. He tried in many other foul ways. Because they were staying for a long time, he asked the local shopkeepers not to give supplies to Purna Pragya Tirtha. And then at that time, Purna Pragya Tirtha had taken a vow that if Vidya Shankar will defeat me, I will break my own danda. So what the Vidya Shankara did, he called all the Brahmanas and asked them to give him blessing so that the danda of Purna Pragya could be broken. But it was never to happen. So in this way there were many fierce arguments, and Madhvacharya easily defeated him, refuted him, but he was not accepting. He was not accepting. Finally he gave in when the Chaturmas ended. So Madhvacharya travelled. From Rameshwaram, he proceeded towards Srirangam. And when he was proceeding, there was a village. He stayed in a village, and in that village, there was acute shortage of drinking water. There was no water. Because he was victorious, what he did, he struck his danda on the ground. And immediately, a fresh water reservoir manifested. So the entire people of village got access to fresh water. What is the situation in Mumbai? I don't know. But in Delhi, there is shortage of water. Especially the potable drinking water. So in this way, he traveled very extensively. And wherever he went, he had lot of opposition, because mostly all the scholars and the teachers, they were all the followers of Shankaracharya. He used to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, and his recitation was so very nectarine that even his guru, Achyut Preksha, used to hear from him. And when he used to hear the flow of nectar, the Amrit Prabha coming from the discourses of Purna Pragya Tirtha, he gave another name to Purna Pragya Tirtha called Ananda Tirtha. Because by his knowledge and by his recitation, he would bring such ecstatic bliss. So this was the fourth name. What was the first name? Vasudev. What was the second name? Anuman Tirtha. Then Purna Pragya Tirtha. And then also the Ananda Tirtha. Because whoever heard him, whoever got a chance to hear him, they all converted. They all transformed. They all became Vaishnavas. From impersonalists, they gave up the Shankara philosophy. So he was known as Anand Tirtha. We see in the pastime of Srila Prabhupada also. When Prabhupada went to New York to preach, Prabhupada was staying with Dr. Ram Murthy Mishra. And he was an impersonalist. And Ram Murthy Mishra was so scared of Prabhupada that he would never allow Prabhupada to speak. Because he had a fear, if his student would hear Prabhupada, then they will all become disciple of Prabhupada. So same way we see in the life of Sripad Madhvacharya, that whenever he spoke, especially on Srimad Bhagavatam and even on the Upanishads, he would enlighten the audience so much and give them such transcendental bliss that they would all convert into Vaishnavas. So in this way, he preached very vehemently, and he defeated the impersonalist wherever he went. So Prabhupada says that Vidya Shankar was actually diminished in the presence of Madhva. Accompanied by Satya Tirtha, Madhvacharya went to Badrika Ashram. So Madhvacharya, he wrote a Gita Bhashya, Hari Gita Bhashya. And he wanted to get this Hari Gita Bhashya approved by Srila Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva is eternally residing in Badrika Ashram. There is a place called Samyak Prash. When we see that arrival of Narad Dev to inspire Vyasadeva, so that is the place which is mentioned in Badrik Ashram. There is the flow of river Saraswati, and that place where the hermitage of Vyasadeva is, it is called Samyak Prash. But that is very, very high in the Himalayas. So he was accompanied, so he started to preach, and when he became sannyasi, he accepted disciples, and his disciples also became sannyasis. So one of his foremost sannyasi, his name is mentioned here, Prabhupada says, is Satyatirtha. He was very close, confidential associate, like in the life of Sripad Ramanujacharya. We see Kuresh and Dasharati. So this Satyatirtha accompanied him along with the other disciples, and they went to Badrik Ashram. But Badrik Ashram is not open always, you know. You cannot go to Badrik Ashram anytime you want, you desire. Because it is also snow covered and the gates are closed. So when Purna Pragya Tirtha or Anand Tirtha reached there, it was closed. So he stayed there for more than 40 days. Some places it is mentioned 40 days, some places it is mentioned 48 days. So he meditated there for 48 days. And then he got a vision of Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva gave him the passage to come to him. And he told his disciples and followers that you stay back. But this Satyatirtha, he was so attached to his spiritual master, just to serve him, he tried to follow. But he could not follow because Purna Pragya is Hanuman. So he would go on the hills, he would leap on the glaciers. But Satyatirtha could not do that. So he was sent back. And how he sent Satyatirtha back? Just by his wave of his hand. He waved the hand and Satyatirtha came down from all the hilltop and came to the Badrik Ashram. Not Badrik Ashram, Badrinath. Accompanied by Satyatirtha, Madhvacharya went to Badrik Ashram. It was then he met Vyasadeva and explained his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita before him. Thus he became a great scholar by studying before Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva personally vouched his commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And it is also said that Vyasadeva also took him and gave him the opportunity to take darshan of Lord Narayan. Lord Narayan's abode is Badrinath. And he is there always performing austerity. So in his original form of an ascetic, Lord Narayan gave darshan to Vyasadeva and blessed him. And Vyasadeva personally gave teachings to Srila Madhvacharya. And in this way it is also said that when the Gita Bhashya was done, he named the Bhashya as Hari Gita Bhashya. He wanted to dedicate it to Lord Hari. So Lord Narayan told him to write commentary on Brahma Sutra. His spiritual master also previously had asked him to write the commentary on Brahma Sutra. So he gave the elaborate commentary on the Brahma Sutra. This was the Vaishnava commentary on the Brahma Sutra. And because time is less, there is a lot to discuss. And in his preaching adventures, there are many challenges. You know, in all the acharyas, this is common that there is a great challenge and opposition to all the acharyas. It is not that everyone easily accepts the philosophy. So he gave the core of his teachings. I'll just discuss because I have very less time. I'll discuss the core of his teachings. It is very well presented in one verse by one of his disciples called Trivikrama Acharya. The core teachings of Sripad Madhvacharya is in a verse. It says, Shriman Madhav Mate Hari Paratara Satyam Jagat Tattvato Bhedo Jiva Gana Hari Anuchara Nicho Bhavam Gata Muktir Nija Sukha Anubhutir Amala Bhaktischa Tat Sadhananam Akshadi Titiyam Pramanam Akhila Amanayaka Veda Hari. The Amanaya Sutra. You all know the Amanaya Sutra? The 10 fundamental teachings which is given by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It is coming from Prameya Ratnavali, which is given by Sripad Baldev Vidyabhushan. And Sripad Baldev Vidyabhushan has received it from Sripad Madhvacharya. So there are the 10 basic and fundamental points what Sri Madhvacharya established. The first point is Hari Parataraha. or Hari Sarvottama. The supreme absolute truth is Lord Vishnu, and he is completely independent. There is no truth which is superior to the Lord Hari. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Matta Partaram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. So his supremacy is over all the demigods. He is the highest reality who possesses infinite auspiciousness. He is Ananta Guna Paripurnaha. Hari Sarvottama Ananta Guna Paripurnaha. Second aspect which he proved, which the impersonalist, what they say, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. He refuted that. He said that Jagat Satyam. Why it is Satyam? Because it is created, sustained and destroyed by Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. The three Vishnus. Why they manifest? Because of their Srishti Leela. So how can Srishti be false or illusion? So he contradicted the impersonalist's conception. And very important, he said that Tattvato Bhedo. That there is Bheda. There are differences. His very famous sign of Madhvacharya is V. Two. Dvaitvad. Because there is Bhed. Not all is one. Once Srila Prabhupada was preaching in the West. I think it is in MIT Boston. And some of the Indian students and the faculty, after Srila Prabhupada's lecture, they all encircled Prabhupada. And one of the students, he shouted and said that Swamiji, all is one is the absolute truth. Prabhupada was explaining him that it is not so. That oneness has many variegatedness. But he was not accepting. So what finally Prabhupada did? Prabhupada caught his collar and dragged him and said, why are you wearing this cotton shirt? Is there any difference between the cotton shirt and the cotton ball? Yes or no? If there is no difference, why don't you wear the cotton ball? Why you are wearing this cotton shirt? So that force was required. And that force to prove the impersonalism as defunct or deficient, Sripad Madhvacharya came. And he gave the Bheda, the Panch Bheda. Quickly I'll say. First is the Isha Jiva Bheda. The living entity, either in the conditioned stage or even in the liberated stage, cannot equal the Supreme Lord. Then there is the Ish Jada Bheda. The difference between the material nature and the Supreme Lord. And then Jiva Jiva Bheda, Jiva Jada Bheda and Jada Jada Bheda. And then, most importantly, he promulgated that Jiva Anucharaha. That Jiva is the subordinate. He is always subservient to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And fifth one that he promulgated is Taratmaya. Taratmaya means that there is even the distinction and gradation of the souls. Krishna says that there are two types of jivas. What are they? Shara and Akshara. So Shara are where in this material world and Akshara are where in the spiritual world. So he gave the hierarchy of the soul. Then the Brahma, led by demigods, then the humans, then the lower species, conditioned soul and the liberated soul. So there is gradation, there is hierarchy. And most importantly, he gave the conception of mukti, which is nija sukha. And how this mukti nija sukha anubhuti, it is only possible when one attains the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. So what is the swarup? Jivere swarup hoye Krishna nitya. As you see, all the teachings of our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been derived from the teachings of Sripad Madhvacharya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him in his lineage. And he said that there is no merging. The sukha, the bliss, the anand that one want to experience is not in merging. But the sukha, where is the sukha is, that is, merging is sukha. There is no sukha. It is sukha, it is dry. But the real rasa, the sukha, is in seva. Experiencing eternal nature bliss by service to Lord Supreme, Hari. So that is mukti. And then, what is the process? The sadhan. He says, bhakti sadhanam. The seventh is bhakti sadhanam. Pure devotion is the means. Amal bhaktis tatad sadhananam. This purifies the self, and this is the way to attain liberation. And how is this possible? By surrendering to God's wills and performing all actions as service. Then he says that Akhil Amanayo Veda Hari. The purpose of study of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari. And he gave 3 pramans. What are the pramanas? Pratyaksha, Anuman and Shabda. But the stress is on Shabda. So he gave lot of literature, his books. His books are called Sarvamul Grantha. And they are 37 in numbers. Of course, he gave the Gita Bhashya. Not only he gave Gita Bhashya, he also gave Gita Tatparya. And he gave one main commentary on Brahma Sutra, which is the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. But he also gave 3 other commentaries on Brahma Sutra, which is Anuvyakyan, Nyaya Vivarna and Anubhashya. And apart from that, he gave so many commentaries on Upanishad. His famous Upanishad was the Aitreya Upanishad. He gave commentary on Mahabharata. So his literally works are unparalleled. And the most important thing is he established with conviction and force that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord in his personal form. That is Lord Hari. So I'll stop here. So today is his disappearance day, the Navami of Magh Mas. While he was giving lecture, he preached very actively in the entire country. He traveled and preached, and he defeated the Mayavadis wherever he went. Not only the Mayavadis, the Jain, the Buddhists. There are so many stories. Once the Buddhists and the Jains, they teamed up in trying to defeat him. But he completely smashed all of them. They tried many foul means also. But he was so powerful and he was so potent that no one could withstand him. There's a long purport of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada gives the disciplic succession. Very important in the disciplic succession of Madhvacharya comes Sripad Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri was the first shoot of Krishna Prem. Jaya Shri Madhava Puri Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpta Rura Teho Prathama Ankura. And this Bhakti, the performing of devotional service in separation. So this first shoot was manifested from Sripad Madhavendra Puri. And in the lineage of Madhavendra Puri came Sripad Ishwar Puri. And from Sripad Ishwar Puri, Lord Chaitanya accepted his initiation. So we are all indebted to Sripad Madhvacharya. That is his Keval Advait Nirashana. But also he gave us the beautiful deity of Udupi Krishna. Udupi Krishna. Udupi Krishna, how many of you have seen the beautiful deity of Udupi Krishna? Krishna is in his cowherd form. In one hand he is holding the stick to tend the cows, and the other hand he has the ropes. This is the original form of Krishna. Krishne ka yate ka khela sarvottam nara lila naravapu tahara swarupa gopavesha murli kara navakishora natavara. So he is in which form? He is in the original Gopavesha form. He is tending cows. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, when Lord Chaitanya is teaching to Srila Sanatan Goswami, he tells that the original form of Krishna is Gopavesha. So that deity is there, the beautiful deity. So we are all indebted to Sripad Madhvacharya that he appeared and he uprooted the jungle of impersonalism and he gave us Sripad Madhavendra Puri, and Sripad Madhavendra Puri was in his lineage. We have been given shelter, and his teachings, his instructions are there. So we should do both things. we should refute impersonalism wherever we find. We should preach. We should come into the footsteps of Sripad Madhvacharya. We see our previous Acharya Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his last days, he said that my entire energy and life was spent in uprooting the jungles of impersonalism. Madhurya Ujjwal Premadhya Rupanuga Bhaktida. I came to give the devotional rasa of the loving mellows of the conjugal love. But my entire life was lost in uprooting the Mayavad. So who started uprooting the Mayavad? The foremost component is Sripad Madhvacharya. Today is his disappearance day. So we pray at the lotus feet of Sripad Madhvacharya that coming in his parampara, we are also empowered to follow his instructions. Sripad Madhvacharya, Tirubhav Tithi Mahamahotsav ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, very nice. You didn't tell how he got the name Madhvacharya.
Huh?
How he got the name Madhvacharya?
How he got the name Madhvacharya? You please narrate.
I don't know.
See, in Prabhupada's purport, nothing is mentioned about it. And Madhva, because he is an Acharya, of course, he is teaching. But I don't know, I don't want to speculate. His father's name is Madhva. So maybe from the father's side, but I really don't know. I will not speculate.
Acha, it's very surprising that Mahaprabhu did not accept that Tattvavad, because Tattvavadis are, I don't know how they got this name, Tattvavad.
There's a full discourse in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah, so Tattvavad, so Mahaprabhu asked, what is your goal in life? Then they said, Varnashram Dharma.
Yeah.
Then Mahaprabhu rejected, saying that there is materialism and then liberation. Material activities and liberation is there. So it is not pure devotional service. Then Mahaprabhu instructed, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu is the main. So then they said, our Acharya taught us, so we teach.
They have got us to?
Those Tattvavadis, initially Mahaprabhu said, because you thought that I am a Mayavadi sannyasi, you are disrespecting me. But then Mahaprabhu defeated their philosophy. Then they surrendered. Yeah. Then they said, Tattvavadis, they said, what to do, what you are saying is correct. Because Mahaprabhu said, this is not the correct way in this age of Kali. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, and then pure devotional service, Pancham Purushartha.
Yeah, Pancham Purushartha. Yeah, that verse is there.
Is the main thing. Then
the verse you were saying is Shravana Kirtan hoite Krishna hoye prema sei Pancham Purushartha Purushartha Sima.
Yeah. So then they said, what to do? Our Acharya taught this only.
The Acharyas is there. They have given, but the point is how many are following.
Madhvacharya, they said Madhvacharya taught us this only. So that is why even now, once somebody called me, he said, I am a Madhvite. So you are all not bona fide. How you are, giving initiation to all, Sudras and all that. Then I asked him, what do you do? He said, I am working in BRC. Then I said, you are a Sudra. Your Brahmana cannot work. So they are very, very particular about not going abroad, and they don't preach so much because, they are stuck in Varnashram system.
That is the point. When there was a dialogue between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya, so Ramananda Roy also began from the same point. He also cited the goal as to be Varnashram. But Mahaprabhu said, Eho bhai, aage kaho aur. And then he, Gyane Priyas. So this Shravanam Kirtanam, but this was there, if we see in the life of Sripad Madhvacharya. He preached very boldly. It is said even that Achyut Preksha, who was his spiritual master, he became his disciple. And he became Purushottam Tirtha. Because when he heard from Sripad Madhvacharya, he was in such a bliss that he gave his disciple the name Ananda Tirtha.
once he was going around, and then who will become your next descendant? They said this bull will become that bull became
Successor.
successor. That bull, he became a big acharya in his next life.
That is,
One thing I want to know, many people they ask this question, that if you are followers of Madhvacharya, how you deviated into Krishna Prema, and you don't follow Madhva Sampradaya philosophy.
no, Krishna Prema is an integral part. See the verse which I quoted. He says about the Sukha. See, this is very much there. See this verse which I just recited. It says Muktir Nija Sukha Anubhutir. And how this will come when you serve the Supreme Lord. So that spiritual bliss, that prema, what is the transformation of that prema? Is by service only. When there is unalloyed service, then one will experience that love of Godhead. Not without being engaged in service. So it is there, it is very much there.
Also, I want to tell that Madhvacharya did not accept 2 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Brahma Vimohan
Brahma
Leela.
Vimohan Leela. Yeah.
You forgot to mention.
He did not give commentary.
There is a big controversy about that.
See, there is no controversy. See, in the creation Leela, Brahmaji says that my words can never become fallible. It is only because he wanted to glorify the Supreme Lord. So that is like Arjuna is also, bewildered. So that is what I have heard.
No, it is mentioned in 13th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, Sukadeva Goswami mentions, in order to give happiness to Brahmaji and the gopis, he performed this Leela.
Brahma Vimohan Leela.
Brahma Vimohan.
Yeah, that is the tattva. Okay. Thank you very much. I seek the blessings of His Grace Devkinandan Prabhu and also from Ramarup. I stayed here for 3 days and the abode of Sri Sri Radha Ras Bihari Ji, and I am very indebted to all the devotees for showering so much of affection and love and care to me, and please forgive me if I would have committed some offense, and it was a very very memorable and pleasurable stay here. Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari Ji ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sripad Madhvacharya Tirobhav Tithi Mahamahotsav ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Krishna.
आपने कहा कि जो उडुपी कृष्ण है वो फॉर्म है, बट मैंने सुना है कि जब उन्हें रोहिणी मैया उनको मतलब देखना चाहती थी उस फॉर्म में, तो वो क्या मत रहे होते,
डंडी बोला, दंड है उनके हाथ में।
दंडी और
वो डंडी डबल काम करेगी ना भाई। क्या बात करते हो, कृष्ण के हाथ में तो डबल काम करेगी। करेगी या नहीं करेगी?
सुना था, बट ये भी अच्छा।
हरे कृष्ण।
अब तो संप्रदाय
हाँ, ये है ना, भगवद गीता में दिया हुआ है ना।
Sadhana Raghunathan Nitam Tam Sajivam